All right, we will get started with Shohei. We're going to begin in English. We'll do a few minutes in English, then a few minutes in Japanese. Who has the first question? We'll start up here with Daniel. We'll get you the microphone. 1 second.
Shohei, with Yoshino, who starts a few days ago, how much you were able to kind of study what he did, and especially facing a team that obviously you guys are going to face for the whole weekend that you've been facing in the last few days?
この打線の印象に関して何かありますかと。吉野の登板に関してはもう本当に素晴らしかったと思いますし、これだけね素晴らしい打線を相手にあれだけのピッチングをしてくれたっていうのは本当に誇らしいチームメイトとして誇らしいなと思ってますし、やっぱりね素晴らしい打線を相手に投げるときはやっぱり自分のパフォーマンスというものをしっかり出さないと抑えれないかなっていうのは大前提にあると思うので、相手の準備まずしながら自分のコンディションをまず一番最初に大事にしたいなと思ってます。 Really good lineup. Yoshinobu navigated that lineup really well. I mean, you have to really have good stuff to be able to put up good results. So, for myself, I'm just trying to put myself in the best position to be able to make sure that I can navigate and put up good results.
Far back on your left, Jesse.
Shohei, why do you think the splitters become so widespread during the postseason, and what makes it effective for you?
ポストシーズンスプリットの結構話題になってますけども、個人的にもスプリット使っていると思いますが、なぜ結構多く使われているんですかねと。
その球種だけが特に有効かと言われたらわからないですけど、他の球との兼ね合いがやっぱ一番大事じゃないかなと思うので、あとは投げるスポットもそうですし、その球だけが特に有効なわけではないのかなとは個人的には思ってます。
I personally don't think the splitter itself is something to be singled out. There's other pitches that are as equally important, and it's about location, execution. So I don't personally think it's the splitter is the highlight.
Stay back there with Andy.
Shohei, at various times this postseason, Dave has been open about how he feels your at bats might be able to improve. How much do you appreciate receiving that feedback?
先に向けている打席内容とコメント言ってますけど、それに対して結構どう思いますかと。
自分のですか。
はい。
状態的には少しずつ上がってきているかなとは思うので、どうですか、毎回いい打席を目指してますけど、もちろん必ずしもね相手も素晴らしい投手ばかりですし、そういうわけにはいかないとは思うので、事前の準備とあとは打席に入る前の心構えと。大事にしながら一打席一打席大事にしたいなとは思ってます。
I do feel better at the plate recently, so in that sense, it's been good overall. But as equally important is, we have pretty good pitching, and we have to kind of respect that as well. And how, I do everything in my power to make sure that I'm prepared as much as possible, and being at the plate with the right mentality, but got to give some credit to the other side as well.
I'll go to Fabian on your left.
Yeah, Shohei, I was wondering if you could hear the chants in Toronto the last couple nights saying we don't need you, and if you did, what did you sort of think when you sort of heard that from the crowd in Toronto?
歓声のことに関してどう思いますか。
素晴らしかったと思いますね。僕の妻がすごく大好きなチャントなので、いじられましたけど、個人的には良かったなと思ってます。
It was a really great chant, and my wife really appreciated it.
Stay back there with Kirsten.
Shohei, just kind of quickly going back to offensively, we know you don't often come out on the field for batting practice, but is there something that you've been looking for just with your swings out on the field, and can you just talk through that?
野外練習の目的は何かありますか。
一番は自分のスイングとその実際に飛んでる打球の質感というか、そこの打球の感覚によって自分が正しく構えているか正しく触れているかっていうところが一番中ではできないことかなとは思うので、あともろもろのところビジョンの見え方とかそういうところも含めて、確認はできればしたいなとは思ってます。
Really the swing and how it feels like it's coming off the bat. Those are the two things that I can't really, get a great
feel for in the cage. And it's also just the visual and how that looks. So it's just really being able to adapt to all those three things.
Ron, right up front.
Do you hope that your success as a two-way player is encouraging young kids to want to be like you and to not give up and to try to keep succeeding doing both?
どういうのその若い野球少年のモチベーションになっているのかと。
そうです、もしそういうふうにやりたい選手がいるのであれば、諦める必要はないと思いますし、どこまでもできるとは思うので、本人の本当にやる気と努力次第でどこまでもいけるんじゃないかなと個人的には思って応援はしてます。
Yeah, I like to encourage kids who are trying the two-way to do it as long as possible, as long as they're allowed to, as much as their talent level could take them. But I do encourage that.
Do two more in English on your left, Shohei.
Shohei, what would you say to Ohtani as a kid?
大谷少年時代の大谷何かメッセージはありますか？
今ですか？
はい。Right now, right? To the Shohei.
どうですかね。もうちょっと勉強しなさいって言えばいいんじゃないですかね。
I would say study a little more.
We'll finish up in English right here.
Konnichiwa, Ohtani-san. To follow up my friend's question, when you were growing up, who did you want it to be like? Who was the person that you wanted to grow up to be like? Who was your hero when you grew up?
野球選手でいいのかな
？Baseball player wise or anybody?
どうですか、野球はずっと見てはきてたので、ただその頃はねどんな試合も見れるわけではなかったので、特にやっぱり日本人のプレーしている試合が多かったですし、そういう意味では松井さん、イチローさんはよく見てたので、憧れみたいなものはやっぱ持ってたかなとは思いますね。はい、
I did look up to Hideki Matsui and Ichiro Suzuki. Just growing up, it's not like I could watch a lot of the games on TV, and so it was really those two players.
Go to Japanese, right up here.
先ほどちょっとスプリットの話出たんですけども、ポストシーズン入ってから空振り率が 90%、もちろんサンプル少ないんでねあれですけど、明らかに向こうが振る確率が増えてて、レギュラーシーズン大体25、6、ポストシーズン入って57、8%、要するに相手が振りたくなるようなところに投げられるコマンドのところまで質が上がったのかなと思うんですけど、最後のこの仕上げのところで一番意識したプロセスっていうのは何だったんですか？
単純にそのリハビリのプロセスの中で優先順位が一番、遅いというか、なんていうんですかね、ピッチングの中では大事な球種ではありますけど、そのリハビリの中ではやっぱ最後の最後に、調整する球ではあるので、間に合って調整できたのは良かったですし、そういう意味では最初の方に投げてるスプリットっていうのはまだ挑戦段階のあまり精度の高くないものではあったのかなとは思ってます。
Go to the fourth row on your right, guys.
お疲れ様です。ピッチャーに関してなんですけども、投げ方も全然、2年前から全然変わりましたけど、その球速帯もかなり上がって、その球種も配分もかなり変わって、傍から見てるとかなり別のピッチャー見て投げてるように見えるんですけど、ご自身としてはやっぱ全然違う感覚というか、そういうの生まれてる感じはありますか？その術前に比べてピッチングに関して。
ワインドアップも含めて変えてる点ではありますけど、一番は不安なくしっかり投げれているなというのが、一番の違いかなと思うので、2020年、2023年も投げましたけど、やっぱりどこか思い通りにいかないなという違和感がありながら投げてたりしてる時期もあったので、今は今のところそういうことはなく、本当になんですかね、自分のやりたいように、体がついてきてはいるなとは思ってます。
Stay in the same spot.
お疲れ様です。先ほどフリーバッティングの話で、打球の質感だったりは外でしか確認できないという話もあって、で先日レギュラーシーズン中はそんなに必要なかったということをおっしゃってたんですけど、短期決戦に入ってそういう作業が必要になった理由みたいなところっていうのはどんなところなんでしょうか？
休みが多かったっていうのもそうですし、シーズン中に 全体のボリュームをやっぱり考えないといけないので、ゲーム中のスイング量もそうですし、1日のスイング量自体もこう管理はしないといけないので、やっぱり外でですね、もう自分が思っているよりも負荷が高くなってしまいがちなので、そういうところはレギュラーシーズンとは違うかなと思います。
One row behind, Nobu.
お疲れ様です。ブルージェイズ打線1戦2戦見て自分でベンチから見て自分で感じた今度のピッチングに生かせることとか何かこう思ったこととかあれば教えてください。
さっきも言いましたけど、まず大前提として自分がしっかりとしたパフォーマンスというか、自分の持っているものの中で高いパフォーマンスをまず出せるという状況を作るのが最優先かなとは思いますし、その中で相手を分析したものをもとに対策していければいいのかなとは思ってます。
ありがとうございます。
Go to the fourth row on your left, guys.
よろしくお願いします。1勝1敗で、初戦厳しい戦いになりましたけど、1勝1敗でこの本拠地に LA に帰ってこられたことをまずどのように思ってらっしゃいますか。
そうです、もう終わったことはこう切り替えてというか、もう参戦選手のホーム開幕だと思って、臨めばいいんじゃないかなと思ってます。
あと改めましていよいよワールドシリーズで初めて二刀流でご自身がプレーできるその期待感とか何かワクワク感があれば教えてください。
シリーズの前も言った通り去年はね肩の怪我もあってなんですかね、なかなかこうシリーズ自体にこうなんていうんですかね、全力でこう集中できる状況ではなかったので、そういう意味では大きく違うと思いますし、その肘の状況も含めて健康体でまずプレーできるということに日々感謝したいですし、ここまでこう最後まで残って、ワールドシリーズを戦えているということにまず感謝したいなと思ってます。
I'll take two last ones in Japanese. Second row to your right.
シーズン終盤になってこうストレスがかかったり重圧がかかるような試合がある中でこう、家族も増えてご自宅帰った時のこう楽しみであったりこう愛犬とかの楽しみ、どういうことでこうリラックスされてますか今年は。
全体的にさっき言った通りリラックスして家に帰ったらリラックスしてますし、はい、家庭内ではねトロントで言われたようなちゃんとは言われないように努めたいなと思ってます。
And we'll finish up in the same row.
すみません、お願いします。母じゃない、すみません。僕の妻が大好きなちゃんとって先ほど言われた話なんですけど、それ具体的に打席の中で聞こえていたのかとか、後から教えてもらって分かったことなのかとか、その辺のちょっと詳しい状況っていうのを。
聞こえてはもちろん、はい。MVP の時もそうですし、はい、基本的には聞こえてはいますけど、集中はしているので、特にそれが気になるなとかはないですし、はい。
あと最後に由伸投手完投勝利2試合連続して、大谷選手のその完投勝利っていうのは今こう現実として見れるものなのかとか、その完投勝利この今の野球界メジャーの野球においてすごいどれだけ難しいことなのかっていうのをちょっとお聞きしたいんですけど。
いやレギュラーシーズンの中でも1試合完投するのも難しいですし、それをポストシーズンのねこう相手のレベルも高くなるプレッシャーもかかる中で2試合連続でこうやってくれるっていうのはなかなかねもちろんできることではないので、本当に頼もしいというか、僕はオフェンスその時やってたのでオフェンス陣からしたら本当に頼もしくこう早くこう援護してあげたいなっていう気持ちにもなりますし、本当に素晴らしいピッチングだったなと見てて思ってました。
All right, Shohei, Will, thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, we will get started with Doc. Who has the first question? We'll start right up front to your left, Doc.
Hey, Skipper, how you doing? Hello, Francisco Velos from Grupo Forma in Mexico. Once again, in this stage, once again, the World Series. What does the Dodgers need to do in specific, sir, to avoid having this series to go back to Canada, to finish it up right here? Obviously, winning.
Yeah, outside of winning 3 games, I think, first off, we're trying to win tomorrow. That's the first thing. We have to have Tyler come out and pitch well. We have to, we know Scherzer from years past, and we have to know that he's going to come in and compete and make pitches, and we got to have a good game plan and execute and play sound baseball. And, then everything will take care of itself.
About 6 rows back in the middle, Fabian.
Yeah, Dave, we've asked a lot about the offense the last couple of games. Are you surprised there hasn't been more slug in general? Or is that one of those things where the at-bats are going to lead to more slug down the line?
I'm not, we had 2 homers yesterday, but I think in general, the 2 starters in particular that we faced have made really good pitches. I think they've had really good command. But yeah, we've missed some pitches as well. But yeah, I guess, they've made good pitches, but we've missed pitches as well. So I do think that coming home, I feel that, we're back into a little bit of a rhythm offensively that it should show itself here these next 3 games.
We'll stay in the same row with Sonia.
Dave, you talked yesterday about kind of considering making a change with Andy in center field and picked up a hit yesterday. But, is that something you think he can build on, or is it still on the table, you shaking things up with him?
Still on the table. It's front of mind, just trying to figure out, where he's at mentally, physically. Certainly the performance hasn't been there. Thinking of other options. So, yeah, it's certainly on the table.
And these will be Clayton's final home games. You've talked about, you're first and foremost trying to win these games here, but would you like to get him into one of these games if the situation is right?
I would love to get him into one of these games if the situation is right. But first and foremost, I'm going to make decisions that I feel are best for helping the team win that particular game. And if he's a part of it, fantastic.
4th row on your right, Bill.
Yeah, Dave. My connecting flight was delayed. Do you have a travel story for us as well?
I don't want to get too far into it. I just arrived about 30 minutes ago. So there were some delays. I don't know if there was intent or not, but it just, the international stuff was a bear. But we made it. We made it.
And with Scherzer, you've faced him over the years. I'm thinking in terms of, in particular, the 2019 playoffs. How different is he as a pitcher now?
Yeah, the stuff was down, but that last outing in Seattle, it was back up. But obviously, with age, you don't have the same stuff. I know they don't have the same leash that on him as he used to have. But, man, he's still a great competitor. He still studies hitters, makes pitches, and, he's not going to give in. It's still going to be a tough test for us regardless because he wants to beat us really bad, I'm sure.
2nd row on your left, Dave.
Dave, I know you said that you were just playing the card you were dealt, having these starters go long into these games, but is there some part of you that loves seeing the old school baseball that you grew up with, guys going 8, 9 innings, complete games?
Absolutely. I love it. I think that's the game that I grew up on. I think that's the game that, fans love. But I do think that there's a point, in the last, call it 15 years that starters just aren't conditioned to go deeper. And so right or wrong, that's what I came into. And so then you look at the roster and what best way to win one particular game, and then a manager, myself, has to make decisions. But, yeah, in a vacuum, I love it this way, yeah.
Go to Beth right here.
Yeah, Dave, with 3 games in 3 days, how critical is it for the starters to go deep and not tax the bullpen, knowing that you're just going to have to keep coming back night after night here?
It's critical. I think that, unfortunately, we are comprised of a rotation that can, log innings. So, the 3 in a row is very important to not to vary reliever looks and to kind of get the optimum matchups that you can. But, it starts with the starters going deeper. Absolutely.
Right here with Ron.
One more on the bullpen. Do you go into 3 days in a row knowing who's capable of bouncing back the pitch every day and who's not? Or is it next morning more seeing how they feel? And also, since they're all going to say they're available, how do you make the determination whether they're really capable?
Yeah, you don't always trust the player, but in this particular situation, I think I got a good feel for our guys. You do go into a 3-game series of knowing what their potential limitations are. Availability, efficacy, is important, obviously. So, yeah, just conversations. But in total, whatever it takes to win that game, and you pick up the pieces after.
In evaluating it, is there a metric, or is it more look in their eye and trying to evaluate if they're...
It's their catch play. It's me talking to the coaches, most important. And at the end of the day, I've got to make a bet on if the player, the coach, everything, the information, if it makes sense to run them out there.
About 7 rows back on your far right, Alton.
Hey, Dave, with Clayton specifically, how have you seen him sort of navigate this last month, obviously in a role that he's not accustomed to at all? And is there any way in which you felt like his presence has had an impact on any individual guys and helped in these playoffs?
He's handled this last month with class, professionalism. All the while, he's always said that he wants to do anything he can to help the team, and he's followed through on that. All the stuff finishing out the season and how everything kind of played out was a lot on his plate, handled it with grace. And then the kind of uncertainty of role going to the pen, he's just fallen in line. And so he's adjusted his kind of workout regimen, throwing program to be ready when called upon, like everyone else is. And I think he's been a big asset for the guys in the pen. Talking to Josh Bard about Clayton, the interactions, the conversations, he's been very additive. And so, to the earlier question, I'd love to get him in there if it makes sense.
A couple rows behind the camera, Nobu.
I skip. Back to the game 2. We saw the Rocky was warming up in the ninth inning, and then Yoshinobu's pitch count already, over 100 pitches. So, in what situation were you planning to use Rocky?
I think for me, I was watching the throws, making sure that Yoshi's delivery was still sound and consistent, which it was. So that's one part of it. And the quality of pitches, and then seeing how the inning developed. So it was sort of a hitter-by-hitter situation, but I wanted him to finish that game.
Second row on your right, Jack.
With Roki, you've mostly used him at the end of games. Just given where the rest of the pen is at right now, could you see maybe being a little more aggressive using him earlier if there's a situation that arises, or do you want to try to keep him preferably in a ninth inning role?
I would say probably using him more towards the back. I'm not going to say I'm going to be beholden to that throughout the end of through the whole series, but I think kind of the way I look at it now, more towards the back end.
And then with the lineup, when you talk about missing pitches that you guys could do damage on, is that partially part of the byproduct of not having faced live pitching for a week and just taking a couple games for guys to kind of get back in their swings a little bit, or is more that just not executing and with some of the stuff they were throwing at you?
I think it was more, honestly, I think it was a little bit weird, a little bit in between. We faced two guys with plus secondary pitches and splits, and I think that having that kind of in the back of your mind gets you off the fastball just a little bit. So I think that's kind of what it was the reason behind it.
A couple others for Doc. Anything else? We'll finish with Clayton.
This is just on a more fun note. There's a guy on this team who reminds a lot of people of yourself and Justin Dean in terms of when he, what he does and his defensive skills. He put him in twice. He's made a great catch and he stole a base. Just tell me something about him and what it's like to look at a guy who, frankly, reminds you of the game that a lot of people know you had.
Great teammate, really good self-evaluator. Obviously wants to be a guy, wants to be in there, but you understand your role on the team, and you try to make the most of it when your number's called. And so, he's a plus defender out in center field. He can steal a base, and he's good on the team. And so those guys in the postseason, you need kind of have your horses, but you also have to have the guys on the periphery that are good teammates and kind of keep that, mojo going. And Justin does just that.
We'll finish up with Francisco up front.
Just one situation that was curious. If you ever had where Shohei or Yamamoto or Snell, you're coming out and you feel that it's done, it's over for them, but they tell you, hell no, I'm going to stay here, I want to finish the game. Is there a situation that you will listen to your pitcher, or where you tell him, sorry, buddy, I'm the manager, you're out?
It's kind of case by case. There are certain times where pitchers want to stay in there, and I trust them, and I believe them, and I think I'll go with it. And other times I know what I know, and it doesn't matter what they tell me. So for the most part, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I've already made my decision. 99% of the time. But sometimes I'll relent, yeah.
All right, Doc, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, we will get started with Tyler. Who has the first question? We'll start in the second row right up front, Tyler.
Hi, Tyler. How are you doing? And last time you were here, you guys came here with a 2-0 advantage, and it was a different rival. How is it for you different facing those Brewers to these Toronto Blue Jays?
It's different game plan, different team. As far as like the record going into it goes, I don't think that's like a huge thing. Just kind of go in and take the game as like its own single thing and just game plan, come out, execute, and hopefully pitch well.
From your left, Francisco.
Hey, Tyler, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Francisco Villalobos from Grupo Formula in Mexico. What a great moment for you, man. I mean, at the opportunity to pitch a World Series game and at home, and the possibility of wearing that first swing of 3 that you guys need in order to close at home. I believe it will be the first time that if you guys make it, there'll be a championship here in Los Angeles since maybe the 60s or whatever. What are the keys of that you guys need to do in order to reach those 3 pivotal games in order to avoid this thing to go back to Toronto?
I think it's just you have to play each game for what it is and not think about the future like 3 games from now. I think it's just tomorrow. We're worried about game 3. Just execute, do what you can tomorrow, and then don't worry about anything else until you have to play those games.
Far back on your right, Tyler. Jesse.
Tyler, I want to ask you about Vlad. Watching him live, watching him on tape, what is so impressive about him? What makes him one of the most elite hitters out there?
I think he's just obviously like swing speed and power, but I think just his contact rate as well. I just think when he's locked in, he can hit kind of whatever stuff in the zone, out of the zone. He's just an overall good hitter.
And one row ahead, Tyler.
So Blake Snell has the binder. Yoshi has the notebook. What do you have to prep?
I have like a little sheet. I don't go like super in depth, but there's a bunch of different stuff on it. Like I don't want to give away too much stuff, but it's not a binder, or it's just like it's a sheet with like 7 to 8 points that I'd like to look at, like combined stats and stuff.
Other questions for Tyler? We'll go to Dice K and then Ron.
Hi, Tyler. Simply, what did you think of Yoshinobu's performance yesterday and the last 2 games? And what's the impressive thing about him?
What's not impressive, I guess. It's crazy what he's able to do. I just think his consistency is always what impresses me. I think like his work throughout the week, and then his pace on the mound is always very similar. It just seems like there's not a lot of there's thinking about the game plan, but there's not a lot of external nonsense thinking. He just seems like a very focused person. And I just think the last 2 games have been incredible. And he's just gotten to a rhythm, and I think as the innings have gone on, he's gotten better and better. And just to see him catch that rhythm yesterday was amazing.
Go to Ron in the second row.
Dave mentioned before at least his flight was delayed. Were you on the delayed flight? And if so, how annoying was that?
No, my flight was fine.
Okay.
Got in and it was good. Yeah.
Having watched Shohei around and what he does, do you think others could be 2-way players? Do you think looking back, if you had that inspiration, you could have hit 2?
No. I mean, I like hit when in like little league and it was good and like, but I'm not. No, I don't think anyone can do what Shohei does. I think maybe there'll be like future opportunities for people to try it out more. There's still guys in college that go two-way. I just think to do it at this level is like, I think Shohei can do it.
Watching him up close, what allows him to do what others can't?
I mean, you've seen it too. There's nothing I'm seeing that you aren't seeing. It's just he is an amazing hitter and an amazing pitcher. It's like as simple as that and as complex as that. He's just, I think his preparation, I think his mindset is pretty incredible just to juggle all this stuff and like the amount of media he has to do every day and all the other like off-field stuff with pitching and hitting and still maintaining like being an awesome person is very impressive. So it's just, he's like kind of like a superhuman.
Right across the aisle, Tyler.
Tyler, you've spoken about it throughout the postseason, but to be the hometown kid with this opportunity here in the World Series, what does this moment mean to you?
Yeah, I'm trying to just go into it like it is any other game. Obviously, it's the World Series for my hometown team, and it's awesome. But I think for me, I guess this whole postseason and like any start to season, I think if you go and you just handle what you can and like simplify it in your workday and simplify it while you're out there on the mound, I think a lot of the other stuff is just kind of noise. It's very like sentimental and amazing, but I think that's kind of something I'll look back on more and focus on and like really feel the feelings of it maybe when this is all done. But I'm just trying to go to work and do well.
Far back on your left, Kirsten.
Tyler, when we were talking about the Brewers, a lot of the conversations about just kind of their bat-to-ball skills, it's a similar conversation when you look at this Blue Jays lineup. Is that something that you can kind of build off of with how you were able to navigate through their lineup from what you've been seeing just with these first two outings from Blake and then from Yoshi that you can kind of use to prepare yourself for kind of what your plan is going up against the Blue Jays?
I think there's some, I don't know how related the two are. I think there's some similarities with like contact and not a lot of strikeout. But I face the Blue Jays a lot. I've got a plan of what I want to do. I think watching the first two games can be helpful. But I guess as far as like comparing the two, they're just such two different teams. And I think it's just more about like the individual game plan. And I think it's just about executing pitches. And if you execute pitches, regardless of the right one or the wrong one, I think it usually works out for you.
A couple last ones for Tyler. Ron, the second row.
With the limited innings you had this year because of the shoulder, do you feel in any way fresher now than you would 8 months into another season, or is it just not comparable?
I don't know. I just think every season's so different. And I've kind of been limited innings every season, so it's like I don't have like a ton to pull from. I think it's just so different. Like certain seasons, you're out of spring and you don't feel great. You get 2 months into season, you feel good. Certain seasons, you feel great for 3 months, and then you feel bad. Like it just depends on the season. It depends on what you're going through. Everyone's going through something in season. It's just timing and random stuff and how your mechanics are playing and how your body feels. But I don't know if there's any I think it's just different for everybody.
Is it fair to say you feel as good as you felt at any point in the season?
I feel good right now. I think the biggest thing too has just been, I think like even the last few starts of season working with Connor and Mark and just getting to somewhere I'm like comfortable, keep it easy, and just getting me locked in mechanically to where I can just be athletic and free thinking has been super helpful. And they've been so awesome this whole year, and especially this last month or so. I think I probably feel the best I have all season right now.
Across the aisle.
Tyler, more to the baseball fan side of you, is there any specific World Series memories that you have, favorite moments, favorite pitching performances maybe?
Oh, man, I have a terrible memory. I'm sure once I leave this room, I'll remember 5 different things, but the only thing that comes up to mind now is I remember the Giants-Angels World Series, just being with my cousin. I just remember where I was at the time and the whole rally monkey thing and nothing super specific, but I remember that. And obviously too, I think the Giants runs were always pretty crazy. Just watching that for the 10, 12, 14 years. And then I guess a specific thing would be Bumgarner. That was always that was incredible. Just watching him go out there and ball out, I'd say. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of right now.
The 2 last ones, Bill, on your left.
Yeah, Tyler, the Dodgers front office is getting a lot of credit for putting together this foursome of starting pitchers, having you guys all pitching so well at the same time in October. When you're out for 2 months, Is there in your head any kind of, well, there's a silver lining to this, I'm going to be really fresh and ready to go in October?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like the thing you tell yourself to not be so pissed off that you're hurt, I guess. Like I think when it happened this year, I definitely was frustrated. I think it wasn't as crazy as it was previous years, or I wasn't as frustrated just knowing it was like something minor compared to like Tommy John and other stuff. So I knew it wasn't like a huge deal. You never want to get hurt in season, and I think for me it's been a personal goal to like stay healthy all season long. It's always something I say in the beginning of the year. And at the moment it happened, I was frustrated, but it is. Like I went and I talked with Gomer and Andrew, and we were like, this, whatever, you'll be out a little bit. The goal is to be for the postseason. Like why I came here was to pitch postseason games. So it was kind of like, all right, this sucks, but it could be so much worse. So I think coming back from that injury, the only thing I had in my mind was just to come out and be healthy for postseason.
Do you feel like that's part of a plan around here, that the end goal is always to be at your best in October?
I think that's probably every team's goal. I'd hope it would be. I think you formulate your team not only to like, obviously you want to do well in season, but I think that should be everyone's goal, to like try to build the best playoff team you possibly can. You obviously have to get there, and it's a little different for the Dodgers. Just they've done so many things for so many years, from development to signing guys to like they're in a different position than most guys. But I think any team that has the potential of going to the postseason, I think that should probably be the number one thing. Of when it's a month of baseball and you have to maybe formulate your team around having the best month you possibly can.
One last one for Tyler. All right, Tyler, thanks so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. Appreciate